Hello, hello. Katie Cline in the house.
Hello, Steve. So nice to be back with you today.
It's great to be back with you. I am coming from live here in San Antonio, Texas, at the High Tech Conference. So a lot of exciting things going on there. And we're going to chat about a couple of those in the story today.
Yeah, I'm excited to hear how it's going. I am home in New York City after an amazing trip to Ireland last week. And for anyone who doesn't know me, I'm Katie Cline. I'm the host of Skift's Sweet Success podcast. I'm very happy to be filling in for Sarah today.
Yeah, Sarah's on a plane now. And we were actually talking about you yesterday at the Creator Summit because I want to give you a shout out here because it just takes one piece of content is what we were saying. One piece of content. And for listeners who don't know, I want Katie to explain what just happened to her because it just shows you can be consistent and you're plugging away on things you think may be the right thing to post. And Katie's world really just exploded online. So Katie, tell us what just happened.
Steve, it is crazy. I mean, talk about what to other people would look like an overnight success moment. And to me, it's been 3.5 years of just working and learning and trying and failing. And finally, one piece of content hit. So last week, I traveled to Ireland. My great uncle passed away about 2.5 years ago, and he left his house, the house that my grandmother grew up in Ireland, to my mom and her two sisters. And unfortunately, about 6 months after my great uncle passed, both of my aunts passed away. My mom is not doing well either. So I kind of took it on myself and said, I know how important this house was, this lineage was. I'm going to redo it. It's going to be a slow process. You know, I need to save up and kind of figure out what that looks like. But I took the first step last week. I booked a flight to see the house. My best friend from the UK met me and joined me. And we got inside this Irish farmhouse that has not been opened in 20 years and started to think about, what are the next steps and meet different contractors and so on and so forth. And so anyway, I posted a piece of content about this, which very quickly overnight seemed to kind of explode. Then I posted a second video. Oh gosh, Will's showing it to you guys now. That's a lot of my face right there. But yeah, essentially I went from like 6,000 followers to 176,000 followers within 5 days. One of the videos has been viewed 9 million times, another one 2 million times. I have hundreds of thousands of comments, of messages, celebrity followers. I mean, the amount of times I just said what is happening, it blew my mind.
Let's because I'm going to brag for you. You said Martha Stewart's now following you as one of them.
Is following me. Octavia Spencer, Kristen Chenoweth left a comment. I mean,
National Geographic, I saw left one.
Nat Geo History left a comment. Yeah. I had some production companies reach out about docuseries. So who knows what will come of this, if anything. But you know what was really cool? Just to see, of course, there was a lot of trolls and a lot of not so nice things that were being said. Even about my hat. Why is everybody so mean to my hat? But there was so much support and so many people sharing their own stories of family lineage and preservation and finding their ancestry and their heritage. So sometimes there are really nice things that come out of the internet as well.
Yeah. Well, we just said we were talking about it too. You haven't made it if you don't have haters, right? And that's I can remember the first hateful comments I got, and I'm definitely my following is not like yours. I was like, what? This guy just called me a clown. That's all I could focus on.
I know.
I got thousands of other great comments, so you get focused on that.
And that's the thing. Why do we always fixate on that one bad comment? Someone, besides always saying nasty things about my hat, someone said, like, you dress like you try so hard. And I was like, I wear that same outfit probably multiple times a week. Like, there is literally nothing being tried hard anymore. But you know what? All we have to think is like, that's just their own stuff.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I'm proud of you. It's amazing to see. I'm really excited to see where this goes because I think this is just the beginning for you. I feel like you're going to have your own hat that people are going to be buying and wearing. It's going to be the Katie Cline brand. So
it might be an Irish flat cap. Who knows?
Keep it going. I love it. I'm excited for you. And really, if you're not following Katie yet, make sure to follow Katie. We're all going to follow along on your journey, and we'll drown out the haters that are.
And likewise to Steve, how's it going with the hotel?
Oh, the hotel is going great. We not sure what I can say just yet, but you see a lot of action online here very soon. So if you haven't yet, follow Baya Miami,
Yeah.
Baya BAYA Miami. We're up to almost 12,000 followers on there, so we're
It
excited
looks
about that journey.
so
We'll be doing a little
amazing.
mini series on there as well. So
Yeah.
minute 30 reality series coming up pretty soon.
It looks
On that
awesome.
channel. So I appreciate it. And David Turk, the amazing story for all of us, content creators. So that's my younger brother, and he got a little viral video that hit like 5 million views too. So everyone's hitting. So keep it going. You never know
Wow.
what's going to pop off. But before we
Yep.
jump in today, Katie, we got to give a shout out to our sponsors, our fantastic sponsors. It's just amazing to see that we have people that are supporting us because of all you, the viewers and listeners that are always here supporting us. The sponsors are joining us, and this episode is brought to you by Cloudbeds. Cloudbeds unifies your operations, distribution, guest experience, and revenue marketing all in one place. It's powered by Signals, hospitality's first foundation AI model. So whether you're trying to drive more direct bookings, cut training time, or finally get your data working for you, Cloudbeds is built for what's next. Learn more at cloudbeds.com/GMH, and that's cloudbeds.com/GMH. All right, almost perfect.
And speaking of who's joining us, we have Lou who says, good morning from Charleston, South Carolina, where it is cloudy and 80s today. That sounds just glorious. And Linda said, bravo. Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Yeah. And so why don't you kick us off here today, Katie? You're going to take the lead
All
for us.
right. All right. Well, we have some big news. Norwegian Air buys a hotel company for $843 million. Norwegian Air is acquiring Nordic Leisure Travel Group, the region's largest package holiday operator, for roughly $843 million in both cash and stock. The deal turns a low-cost airline into a vertically integrated travel group spanning scheduled flights, chartered jets, tour operators, and hotels. This is a really cool acquisition, something we haven't seen before. We've seen airlines buying other airlines, but this is really an interesting move to own the entire vertical travel chain.
Yeah, started thinking about it. I was like, all right, I know that, Virgin, I guess, had their flights and they had hotels and cruises and they're kind of everywhere. I couldn't think of anybody else that was doing this. And it's really interesting because it can go really well or really bad depending on which company you are. And so I was thinking out there, I was like, all right, if you could think of an airline, Katie, what airline would you want to be staying in their hotel? What brands are you thinking of when you think
Well,
of
and it's funny you asked that because I am not a package holiday girl. And so that is my big concern about this. However, if we just look at good rules of investing, diversification is always one, right? So in a way, if you're, suffering on the airline side because of increased jet fuel, or you're suffering on the hotel side because of low occupancy, at least you are diversified across these businesses. But to answer your question, I don't know. Who would I really trust with that? Maybe Delta, maybe JetBlue.
Yeah, I was
Maybe
trying to think of
Airline.
maybe some of like the European and Asian ones. Those are the ones that I'm going to be thinking of. Like, Lufthansa can maybe do a good job. Who are the other ones that are big out there that are like the ultra luxury planes that have like the bar already in the plane? I forget the commercial.
Emirates or
Yes, Emirates
Etihad.
would
Yeah.
be pretty good.
Yeah.
But it's interesting. I think you're right. To do this is a big move, and I'm just surprised we haven't seen it more. But I guess it makes sense.
Yeah.
It's very different models, and so you have to have experts in each field really running those divisions.
That's exactly what I was going to say. If you don't kn these are very different businesses. So you really do have to have experts on each of them. And something that we saw in the article is that NLTG's owned hotels are roughly 25% of its holiday volume, but it's about 60% of their gross profit. So that's showing something really interesting there. However, that's a capital intensive play. There is a reason that the big hotel companies are all asset light. So yes, this is going to help them to really own every aspect of the consumer journey, but you have to have a
Mhm.
lot of money to do that.
You do. And I see we've got Lou who said United Emirates would be his. We got
Mm,
Chris saying easy answer is Virgin. So look, I think this is something interesting to keep an eye on for people. But you're right. In this world now where the cost of everything is going up, it's how do you diversify your business to where you can really protect yourself. So I'm
yeah.
excited to
The, co-
see what they do.
the combined group is expected to serve 30 million customers annually and lift the annual group revenue by close to 50% to nearly 6.3 billion. So shows from a street perspective, definitely a good investment.
Yeah. So listen, we'll keep an eye on them. We'll report back to see how it does. I know that Skift reporters will keep their eye on this and definitely get back to us on what they're seeing. But congrats on the move. I'm excited to see how you make a difference in the industry right now. Norwegian Air. Let's keep an eye on it.
Before we move on to the next one, a quick shout out to our sponsor, Built. They're also a sponsor of Sweet Success. They are helping restaurants and hotel F&B teams better understand their guests and create more personalized experiences that drive repeat visits. If you care about loyalty and guest experience, which we know everyone watching and listening does, it's worth checking them out. Head to joinbuilt.com/GMH. Once again, joinbuilt.com/GMH.
Nicely done. I can see you've done this before, Katie.
Should we move on to our next
Let's
one?
do it. Let's get into the next one. This is a cool one.
Okay. IHG spent 8 years rebuilding its systems. Now it says the payoff is starting. We've heard from IHG CEO Elie Maalouf, who says 8 years of tech investment is beginning to show up in franchisee margins. The overhaul includes a reservation system built with Amadeus, an AI-driven revenue management platform from Revenue Analytics, and most guest data in Google's cloud.
Oh, it's amazing. And 8 years to really invest in something. You can see how hard it is to build the infrastructure for hotels. And they're saying the new property management system is going to roll out to 4,000 hotels by year end, and then eventually to all 7,000. So that result we'll have is IHG can now then personalize. This is what I'm excited about. For 160 million loyalty members, they could be able to personalize all the kind of bookings and room prices and everything for them at scale, because then all the systems are talking to each other. And so we report on this a couple of times now that every major hotel group is really starting to tear down their tech stack, rebuild it, try to put it together to where all the AI can talk to all different areas of their hotel division, because there's so many different tools out there. And so walking the floors of high tech yesterday, Amadeus was out there. Everyone's really competing because they're starting to see wow, we need to really step up our game. We really need to focus on how we're going to create a tool that everyone can use and make it easy versus having to patch all these different things together.
Yeah.
I had coming up in the hotel industry, and I'm sure you saw as well.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. Anyone who's been behind the scenes on tech systems in hotels, airlines, I mean, it's shocking sometimes how antiquated it is, but
Yep.
it's a huge overhaul to redo that. And I really commend IHG for taking 8 years to do it and do it right. I think when we think about politics, we often see decisions being made in 4-year terms.
Yep.
When we think about publicly traded organizations, it's typically what's going to look good by next quarter. So to take this long outlook to build something again and do it right, I really think it's going to pay off for them.
Yeah, and the other part too is that a lot of people forget hotels don't close, right? So it's not like, oh, we're going to close down for a week, we're going to put in the new systems, we're going to launch it. It all happens in the middle of the night.
Yep.
You have to plan for it as you start rolling these systems out. You got to make sure your team is trained on all these new tools because they've been trained for years and years and years on whatever systems they were using.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden they have to get used to that really quick. And so it can cause some hiccups, but it's going to pay off is what it looks like. So, some of the stats here that they were saying is that IHG grew their net system size 4.7% in 2025 versus Hilton's 6.7% and Hyatt 7.3%, Maalouf says. So whether each hotel added, it drives earnings per share. So it's just interesting to see how they continue to grow. And with this, you can really personalize, upsell, get new fans into your system. But I'm going to walk the floor. I'm going to talk to Amadeus today and see what they're saying now that it's kind of out in the world. I'll find out some news for us and see what's out there.
Yeah. I like that last point too, just talking about growing quality over quantity. And again, going back to how we usually see things reported on the street or in politics or what have you, taking that longer tail vision of saying we're not just going to grab conversions or we're going to grab new openings for the sake of it if it doesn't meet the parameters that we put in place for a reason. So I like when companies do this, when they really zoom out, say, what are we going to be good at? What do we want to focus on? And let's stick to it. I think it's going to pay off for them in the long run.
What I am a little concerned with, and I think Will was mentioning this, our producer in the back, is that they started 8 years ago. So a lot of technology has changed too. So I'm curious to see how quickly they can adapt to everything that's new coming out, right? I don't know about you, but as I'm sitting here, it seems like every week there's a new tool or a new AI this or a new system that can help you get more efficient in different ways. And just being on the floor of high tech yesterday, there's a lot of AI agents being launched now. So like it's pretty impressive to see like these small companies that had long lines to talk to them, but from major hotel companies trying to figure out like, all right, so I can use your AI agent now to answer all my calls like a human. I can now use your AI agent to do my inventory. I can have them talk to each other to tell me what's going on in the hotel rooms. It was one that was interesting where, I'm sitting in a Westin, but they're working with a Marriott property. I can't say which one, but they're putting sensors in the room that have infrared sensors to see if someone's laying in the bed or not, plus motion. So as soon as someone checks out, all of a sudden everything in the room adjusts, all the power, all the lighting, everything gets changed to help on savings. But it also tells housekeeping, someone's not in the room, you can go service it. Or the engineering team, hey, they're not here. And this all happens automatically and creates tickets in those systems. It makes things more efficient. So
that is really cool. If we can alleviate the like 9 a.m. knock on the door and you're like still sleeping and you're like, can you come back in an hour? That would be fantastic.
It would eliminate all that. And then it would be, sending tickets and supervising which rooms to go to.
Yeah.
So kind of mind blowing what's going to be happening. Because that's,
I think
someone's job right now to coordinate all of that. Right. So,
right.
Scary.
And also like, let's not just have tech for tech's sake, right? Like what you said about having AI agents for phone calls, that really worries me because I'm sure we'll get to a point where the technology is seamless, but I don't think we are there yet. And the amount of times you have to write human representative, like that is really frustrating. But all the other things you said, like how can we think about using it in ways that we've never thought before? And I think this all goes back to, it's a great 8-year investment of time and money if the owners, the franchisees, the customers, the travelers, are we feeling that seamlessness of technology as well? Or does it still feel really clunky at one point during the travel experience?
No, and talking about those AI agents, I had to make a call. It wasn't to Marriott. It was another hotel. And I had to make a change to the reservation. And as I was calling, it took me to an AI agent. It sounded very human-like, right? It has those pauses and ums and uhs and helping try to get a solution. Tell me what you need. I told it what I needed. But it was just something very specific and it couldn't get there. And it kept trying for me to rephrase it in different ways. And finally, I just said, I need to talk to an operator, and said, okay, I'll connect you to an operator. But it will get there. It can handle some basic things right now, but very specific things it could not get done.
I had a similar situation too, which I had to wonder if this was just like a blip in their tech system. When I was flying back from Ireland with Delta, I got a message from them saying, sorry, due to a change in aircraft, we've moved you from your Delta comfort seat. Contact us to get a refund or change your flight. And I just thought, first of all, if you're going to kick me out of something I've paid for, just process the refund for me. Why do I need to call? So I call them and I'm like, guys, what's happening here? Can you process the refund? They're like, oh, you have to fill out this form to do it. I go to fill out the form. You can't fill out the form until you've actually flown on the flight. Then before getting to the airport, I get a text message from Delta saying, we're preparing for really bad weather. You're welcome to change your flight if you want to. I look at the weather forecast both in Ireland and in New York. There's no weather at all. So I'm like, what's happening? I arrive to the airplane. I go to board to my seat, and it is a wonderful Delta Comfort seat. So I don't know what happened on their side, but I'm like, you just added so much friction to my process when actually everything was fine.
Yeah. You see? Well, listen, Katie, in a couple of months, if you keep on this trajectory, you'll be flying on a private jet soon. So I wouldn't worry about those calls anymore. But yes, it is frustrating. It is frustrating as that continues to go. But I can see it, how much it's improved just in a year. Because a year ago, it was like very basic. And then now this year, they're doing tasks. And now if they can continue progressing at this speed, it's going to be really interesting to see what people can create. Because
and even in our own lives.
Yeah, like we can create things with all these people working for us that we would have had to hire in the past to do certain specific things. So it's going to get interesting to see what we all are up to in 12 months from now. But, all right, IHG, we're cheering you on. We always love people, enhancing the guest experience. And if this technology can do it, kudos to you. We're excited to see what's up. All right, should we get into the next one here?
Yes.
Well, actually, we have a sponsor read. Look at this, guys. 3 sponsors on the show today. Appreciate your support. Love seeing this. And we've got StayFi. So this episode is also brought to you by StayFi. StayFi helps short-term rental operators build direct guest relationships through branded Wi-Fi portals, email marketing, and guest data tools that turn one-time bookers into repeat guests. So start growing your direct booking revenue today at stayfi.com/Good Morning Hospitality. And that's stayfi.com/Good Morning Hospitality. And Lou, you've been an early supporter. Oh my, sponsors galore. You got it. We got it. You guys have been supporting, man. We appreciate you guys listening, because if it wasn't for you all tuning in every single week, these sponsors wouldn't be here. So we appreciate everybody.
That's right. And Linda said, wow, UI implemented without testing. I mean, yes.
And Jose saying, I'm an IHG employee in the past. Well, you have to let us know what you think and what you were hearing. Were they in need of an upgrade? Since you're not working there anymore, you can let us know. Do you think they
Yeah. We'll move on to our final article. RealTime Reservation acquires Stay to unify hotel ancillary revenue tech. RealTime Reservation is acquiring Stay, a guest experience platform, combining their ancillary booking platform with Stay's tools for mobile ordering, digital menus, guest requests, and feedback. This deal was backed by Wavecrest Growth Partners for an undisclosed sum. Really, this deal is all about solving one core problem, which is that ancillary services like spa, restaurants, cabanas, activities typically run on separate vendor systems with separate payment setups. And that really makes it impossible to bundle services into a single guest transaction or measure total non-room revenue across properties. To me, that's the biggest issue right there, is how are we supposed to actually personalize if we don't really know where guests are spending their time and their money?
And I'm very excited about this article. And I don't think anybody knows this yet, but I was at the press conference yesterday. I hosted the press conference at High Tech for RealTime Reservation, announcing their acquisition of Stay, because Sean Tarter, CEO of RealTime Reservation, is a very dear friend of mine. And I've been so honored and proud to see what he's created over the last decade. And again, it just shows you consistency of building a company to a point where you can really provide a great guest experience. And so what they're doing, and what I said at the press conference is, like, when I was in hotels as a food and beverage director and then running, divisions, was I had to log into 17 different tools to see who was at my cabana. All right, let me log into OpenTable to see who's at the restaurants. Let me check the spa software to see where they're at the spa, who's in the kids club today. And now they're able to really put this all together in one platform. And so anything that's not a room, you can now log into as a user and see what's going on. And now by acquiring Stay, they even make it even more powerful with Stay's amazing tools. And so it's all in your hand here. And so they've got companies like Marriott, Hyatt, Accor, the biggest of the bigs that are using them. And now they're able to put this into even more people's hands. And what it means for the guest is it's seamless. You don't know that you're using RealTime Reservation. You're just on the hotel's website. And when you go to a Ritz-Carlton or a St. Regis and you're booking that cabana and the restaurant at the same time, or the nightclub tools that they have, or your parking, you're able to do everything in one place. It makes it easy for the guest to have one itinerary, one place to be able to look at everything versus having to keep track of all these different things. So it's really an impressive tool. I'm using it for our hotel that we're building. So I'm a fan of it, and not just because he's my friend. It's a world-class tool that I've seen. So it's not very often that I get to talk about the articles we see here, and actually be involved and see what's going on day to day. So it really is big. But as a guest for you, what are you most excited about when you see something like this?
Oh man, just the seamlessness. Like everything that you are saying, I think people who don't work in our industry assume that is already happening. And you feel it in the UI when all of a sudden you're trying to do something and it sends you out of the app and you have to re-sign in and all of that clunkiness. I just think it's so exciting for it to work the way that we all expect technology to be working. We have a great comment from Paul Manzi. Big move for the RealTime Reservation team, taking the guest experience to the next level. Manzi Digital also said huge development for hotel operators and guests alike. Great step for RealTime Reservation. And Lou, the seamlessness for the guest is key. I could not agree more. It's so frustrating because there's that great Louis C.K. skit where he's talking about Wi-Fi on an airplane and people being like, oh, it's not working. And he's like, well, what happened next? Did you fly magically through the air? But that is how we all are now. We just expect these things to work. We expect it to be seamless. If I've already logged in someplace, don't make me log in again. Don't make me fish out my credit card and have to type in the details. Give me an Apple Pay integration. So anything that just makes it more seamless, I think is going to make guests spend more money too.
I think so too. And that's what I'm most excited about for them is now that they have this investment and this purchase to see how they start really getting all that guest data to really start to personalize things for us. So I know that's big on their radar this year and excited to see what they come up with. So if you're a hotel and you are not using these systems now, you really need to have something in place for your guests to really make it easy for them to navigate day to day. And it helps you meet a guest where they are. Most of us are on our phones as we're booking things and here. So if I can really take a look at the entire day and I'm getting shown things that I actually like versus just being upsold random things that don't, interest me, that's when it makes it really easy and I feel good about spending my money. So good job.
I'd love to see for the next step how operators can start to utilize that data, because we all know we don't need data for the sake of data. But if we are now having this seamless integration, we should know a lot more about our guests than we did previously, or at least have it all in one place where it used to have to be kind of mined from different places. So I would love to see, where are we going with it next? What does it mean? Like you just said, how are we serving up things that are really of interest to you and not frustrating the guests just like, oh my gosh, they're trying to sell me something else. It's, I didn't even know this existed. Yes, I'd love that. Let's add that on.
I don't want to get myself in trouble, but I've seen some things that they're working on that I think we're right up that alley. So it'll be very, very exciting. So big shout out to Sean Tarter, CEO of RealTime Reservation, acquiring Stay. That's a big move for you all, and was honored to be invited to be at the press conference and host it with you all yesterday. Thank you very much. And we're cheering you on. All right. Should we get into my favorite part now, Katie?
Yeah.
My favorite part of the entire show is Whose Brand Is It Anyway? Brought to you by, we don't have a sponsor yet, but if you want to sponsor it, let us know. And we'll have this segment for you. But whose brand is it anyway? Where our producer, Will Slickers, will put up a sub-brand on the screen, and we have to guess which parent company owns this sub-brand. I am now, I think, 1 for 10 on this one.
I was going to say my type A perfectionism doesn't like that I don't know this going in. So here we go.
And Lou says, oh, yes, we can all fail now. Lou, I think you got it last time. So let's see. Everyone get ready with your guesses here. We're going to put up the sub-brand, and we're going to see what we've got.
Unscripted hotel.
Unscripted hotel. We need some music for this one while we're thinking like Jeopardy music. All right, listeners and viewers. Oh, here we come. We got some music. Listeners and viewers, put in what parent brand owns Unscripted Hotel. I am going with, my guess is going to be Hyatt. What do you got over here?
Ooh, I'm going to go with IHG.
IHG. All right. Listeners and viewers, you have 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 to get your guesses in. Let's see. Whose brand is it anyway, Will? Oh, don't keep us waiting. Drum roll. Hyatt. All right.
Okay.
Back-to-back weeks.
Well done. Well done.
I felt that was very Hyatt-like unscripted. I'm just taking a look at the unscripted hotels. Looks like they got a nice mix here. Different places. Very unique. So listeners and viewers, make sure to check out the unscripted hotels, our brand for the week. So Hyatt, I got it. Amazing. 2 weeks back to back.
Well done, you.
Feeling pretty good. So Katie, before I run out back to the high-tech floor, what are you most excited about? Are you seeing anything cool in your world of hospitality other than you blowing up on Instagram?
Good question. I don't know. I think I might be going back to Ireland sooner than I expected. So we'll find out. I did have some amazing hospitality experiences while I was there. The biggest thing for me, being someone with Irish lineage, the amazing thing is how many strangers would say to me, welcome home, or how long are you home for? And that made me think a lot about hospitality, because I remember that happening to me the first time I visited 20 years ago. It was my first time out of the country. And isn't that really what hospitality is making people feel like they belong, even to a place that they've never visited before? So what about you?
Well, I want to say, just seeing this FIFA World Cup, it reminds me every 4 years, like how amazing the whole globe can kind of come together and cheer on for something while there's so many
Yeah.
crazy things happening. It's like the closest thing to world peace is
Yeah.
when you see all these countries really, cheering each other on in sport, putting aside their differences to really focus on this. And I see it here in San Antonio. Miami is one of the host cities, and I saw how big a production it was in downtown Miami, and just seeing all different people with their waving their country flags, watching the games, having food together. And I've somehow got into a black hole of watching all the Scotland fans on my TikTok and Instagram feeds, and how happy they are to be in the United States. If you haven't done it yet, Katie, I think you should check it out. It's pretty amazing to see what they're up to and how much the Americans love watching the Scottish fans. So I'm cheering on everybody here.
And similarly with the Knicks win too, watching the city come together, we have a lot of sports teams. So to have one team, one basketball team who hasn't won in a really long time, that was really cool to watch people come together.
I don't cheer on. My brother lives in Brooklyn. I saw him cheering on the New York Knicks. So Rick, if you're watching, we're Miami Heat for life down here. So we cheer them. But anyway, Katie, I appreciate you stepping in here on the show. Listeners and viewers, if you haven't done yet, make sure to go follow Katie Cline and her journey, what she's doing in Ireland. Look, if Martha Stewart's following her, it's good enough for you too. Okay, so make sure to do that. And for our show, of course, if you haven't yet, make sure to hit subscribe here. We shared a lot of great stories. So if you like them, some of your friends will too. So pause this right now, hit that little share button, and send them the link so they can listen along.
And if you're looking for another Skift podcast, check out Sweet Success, Sweet Like Hotel Suite, for some great conversations with some people in the industry. Steve actually has an episode, so you can find that one in the archives too.
Yeah, I was one of the OGs. I was honored to be on the first one. So
that's right.
Katie, appreciate you joining today. I got to run back over to high tech and see what's happening in the world of technology so we can report back next week. But until next week, everybody, stay hospitable. Bye.